A spectre looms over American democracy. It's called Project 2025, and it's not a government initiative. It's a blueprint for power, crafted by a fringe group of right-wing operatives including Steve Bannon and Nick Fuentes and some Christian nationalists. They are driven by an alarming goal to ensure Donald Trump's return to the White House in 2025, and with him, a sweeping transformation of the American government. This is not just about winning an election. Project 2025 aims to dismantle the administrative state as we know it. They seek to purge career officials deemed disloyal and replace them with Trump loyalists. This would give them control over key institutions like the Justice Department, the FBI, and even the military. The danger is clear. Project 2025 represents a hostile takeover of American democracy. It's a plan to concentrate power in the hands of a few, unaccountable to the people they claim to represent. This is not hyperbole. It's a clear and present threat to our nation's future. The time to confront this threat is now, before it's too late. We must understand the goals of Project 2025, expose its architects, and mobilize to defend our democracy. The stakes are too high to ignore. Project 2025's goals are ambitious and alarming. It goes beyond typical political maneuvering. It aims to fundamentally reshape the American government. Their playbook involves installing Trump loyalists in key positions across all branches of government. This includes everything from cabinet secretaries and federal judges to heads of agencies and even low-level bureaucrats. The main architect of this plan is the Federalist Society, with support from the Heritage Foundation to be implemented by the who's who of the far right. At the helm of the Heritage Foundation is billionaire Leonard Leo, who is tasked to bribe judges, including the Supreme Court justices. Make no mistake, he has big business backers who stand to gain billions by dismantling regulation. Then there's Steve Bannon, the former White House strategist known for his scorched earth tactics. He is a key player in getting the right-wing message out. Nick Fuentes, a white nationalist with a history of hateful rhetoric, is another disciple eagerly waiting to inflict pain on liberal Americans. He is another prominent figure in 2025 Project. These individuals are not fringe actors. They wield significant influence within the Republican Party. Their strategy relies on exploiting existing vulnerabilities in our system, including reliance of the Supreme Court, which has a conservative majority. The recent rulings of overturning Roe versus Wade, giving Trump immunity for criminal acts, are just the beginning. Once in power, they aim to leverage executive orders, regulatory changes, and legislative maneuvers to cement their control. Their goal is to create a government that is impervious to dissent and accountable only to themselves. This is not a drill. It's not hyperbole. This is a well-coordinated effort to dismantle the norms and institutions that have long underpinned American democracy. The consequences of their success would be dire, ushering in an era of authoritarian rule and the erosion of our fundamental freedoms. The implications of Project 2025 are chilling. At its core, it represents a rejection of the fundamental tenets of American democracy. The rule of law, the peaceful transfer of power, the very notion of a government accountable to its citizens, all of these are under threat. Imagine a government where dissent is silenced, where the media is muzzled, and where elections are rigged to guarantee a predetermined outcome. This is the dystopian future that Project 2025 envisions. It's a future where individual rights are trampled, where minorities are marginalized, and where the will of the people is irrelevant. The threat to our democratic institutions is real. A government staffed with partisan loyalists would prioritize personal allegiance over competence and integrity. This would erode public trust, undermine the rule of law, and create a breeding ground for corruption. We cannot afford to be complacent. We must recognize the urgency of the situation and take action to protect our democracy. The future of our nation and the freedoms we hold dear depend on it. The power of the ballot safeguarding democracy in 2024. The 2024 election is not just another political contest, it's a battle for the soul of our nation. It's a choice between preserving our democratic values and succumbing to authoritarian rule. The power to decide rests in the hands of the American people. We can no longer rely on the Supreme Court. The first line of defense against Project 2025 is the ballot box. Every eligible citizen must register to vote and cast their ballot in November 2024. Have a foot soldiers and a war chest ready to expose rigging and arrest fake electors. This is not a partisan issue, it's about protecting our democracy from those who seek to subvert it. Voting is not enough. We must be informed voters. We need to understand the issues at stake, research the candidates and see through the disinformation and propaganda that will undoubtedly flood the airwaves. The only way to change the composition of the Supreme Court is Democratic Party straight-ticket voting in the races. Ensure that those you put in office denounce Project 2025 and its anti-democratic goals. Pressure them to enact reforms that protect our elections from interference and strengthen our democratic institutions. The 2024 election is a pivotal moment in American history. It's a time to choose between democracy and authoritarianism. The future of our nation hangs in the balance. Let's choose wisely. A multifaceted approach to protecting democracy. Defending democracy requires more than just voting. I will repeat myself. It demands a sustained and multifaceted effort from all of us. And it's a continuous process. Be on your guard. We need to be vigilant, engaged, and unwavering in our commitment to democratic values. These values have to be passed on to our children. We must support organizations dedicated to protecting voting rights and ensuring fair elections. Groups like the ACLU, the Brennan Center for Justice, and the League of Women Voters play a vital role in safeguarding our democracy. Education is also crucial. We need to teach our children about the importance of civic engagement, critical thinking, and media literacy. We must equip future generations with the tools they need to recognize and resist authoritarianism. We must also hold the media accountable for reporting truthfully and responsibly. Lately, corporate media has been a total disappointment by buying into the propaganda in exchange for ratings. Journalists have a crucial role to play in exposing corruption, holding the powerful accountable, and informing the public. Defending democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires active participation from each and every one of us. We must be willing to speak out against injustice, to challenge those in power, and to defend the rights of all Americans. It is sad that I have to narrate this, but the future of democracy rests in our hands. The challenges facing American democracy are real and urgent. Project 2025 represents a clear and present danger to our nation's future. But we are not powerless in the face of this threat. The power to protect our democracy rests in our hands. It starts with recognizing the threat and refusing to be complacent. We cannot afford to be bystanders while our freedoms are being eroded one after another. We must be willing to stand up for what we believe in, to speak out against rollbacks and injustices, and to demand better from our duty bearers. The future of our democracy depends on our willingness to fight for it. It depends on our commitment to the values of freedom, equality, and justice for all. Let us rise up to the challenge. Let us defend our democracy with courage, conviction, and unwavering determination. The time to act is now. The future of our nation depends on